Welcome everyone. Well, I'm going to be one of the facilitator of the session. Thanks to everyone for being here. I'm Nicolas. I'm from Codurance company, and well, basically, for those who don't know, Codurance is a consultancy company based in London, Manchester, and here in Barcelona. And we host meetups every 1 or 2 weeks. And today our session is a bit special. It will be presented by David Lluna from a Flywire company. And well, before we jump into the main subject, I would like to share some information and recommendation about the session. So we will do a remote exercise. I don't want to spoil you with the content of the exercise, but I just want to warn you that we will be split into teams of 3 or 4 people, well, depending on the number of total people that we have. So we will be redirected to rooms, but it will be done automatically. You don't have to do anything. We understand that some of us maybe don't want or won't participate actively, but we want to encourage you to do it anyway, because there is no exam at the end. There is no like bad judgment. You don't have to worry. You know, we have here just to have fun, to have a good time, to share opinions, to share our knowledge, and we want to try new things probably and to learn a bit more. So no pressure. We want to have a good time. No. Okay, so I think that we can start. So well. Hi, David. Thanks for being here. Can you tell us maybe a little bit more about yourself and what is the surprise that is awaiting for us?
Hi, my name is David Lluna. I work at Flywire as a site reliability engineer manager. I'm leading the kind of platform team that we are giving service to 100 engineers. And I also co-host a local Devops meetup here I'm based in Valencia, by the way. We used to do this workshop on face-to-face, and I thought that it was an interesting idea to try to do it remotely. So we will see. We are going to practice DevOps concepts.
So I don't know if someone has any questions before we start. Well, I'm Christian. I will be also facilitating here. So hello all. Just before we start, if you have any questions, please throw them. And if not, we can start with the exercise. And well, that will be all.
So, welcome to the Devops Dojo. So this is a little bit of the agenda. We are going to see now an introduction to what we think this is. Then we will see a small introduction to Factor, very small, and then I will present the exercises, and then we will practice. So, okay, so we use the Dojo word because we think of it as an space we stole this from the martial arts. It's a place where you can come with any level, and everyone is welcome. And we are always going to practice some exercises with some supervision and with the final goal of improving your skills and gaining experience. So this dojo is focused in DevOps concepts. So we are going to program, but under the umbrella of DevOps. So we are going to practice to get to know the 12-factor application. So this is, I'm going to be fast. You can in fact, you should read them before starting the kata. So it's a methodology to build software as a service. It's a must in your DevOps toolbox. It has been around for a lot of time. It started as a share knowledge between people in Heroku and other companies that used to handle a lot of application for a lot of different companies, languages, etc. So they came up with some practices that helps a lot with moving those applications safely to production, making them more operable, and a lot of other benefits. So do you have the link? We are going to see five. Well, we are, depending on your level or the level you come to this exercise, you may finish all them or stuck in some of them. So some fun is granted. So we will practice 5 factors: store configuration in the environment, the concept of making services strictly separate build and run stages, and maximize robustness with fast startup and graceful shutdown, and finally trade logs and event streams. So there are 12. We are going to only see 5, but it's going to be interesting. So it's not the typical kata you are used to. The exercises has kind of a Kwan spirit, because for each of the 12 factors, there is a test that is going to pass or not once the factor has been understood and applied to the code. And the exercise also feels like a kata because there is not a single solution, and there are some restrictions to take in consideration for solving the exercise. So from here, I'm going to call kata Kwans. But I'm open to suggestions here. Okay, so how does it work? On one hand, we have a very simple and silly application written in Node.js using the Express framework. It's a simple HTTP endpoint that it's not 12-factor compliant. And on the other hand, we have a test harness with a series of tests that covers each one of the 12 factors, or one or multiple tests for each one. So the objective of the exercise is to modify the provided application so all the tests are green, meaning that the application becomes 12-factor compliant. Right. A little bit behind the scenes, all the Dojo is managed by a test harness. It's based on Docker Compose and RSpec. That is the test framework for Ruby. You don't have to deal with that. It's only for your curiosity. So for each test, the harness will build a Docker image with the app, and we will call this image the subject under test. Okay, the Docker image is going to be our SOUT, and afterwards the harness will spin up this Docker image in a test environment with all the required dependencies. We will have Redis, we will have MySQL, and all the normal stuff for our application, and it will run a series of tests against our subject under test, and it will validate if it's 12-factor compliant or not. So I'm going to put this, it's all in this repo. It was initially in Spanish, so I did a translation. So you will have, it's the translation is not in the master branch, it's in, you have to check out the EN branch. I have here the repo, and there is a quite large README with all the information we just have seen, we have seen right now. And then it's the, so once you are ready, you have cloned the repo. It's using Makefile, so make setup will build all the images that are needed to start the exercises, and then this will start the environment. You have all the explanation here. This one is needed because during all the exercises you are going to download different images. So with this we are warming up the Docker cache, so it's going to be faster. And then when you are ready, you start to make test 3 and start checking the output of the test and checking why it's not passing, etc. So you have here, you can explore the test environment. You have in the folder test scenarios, you have the Docker compose files to check what's inside. And also, if you are familiar with BDD, you can also check the spec folder that it has the actual test. Then when you have problems, you have some commands for troubleshooting. There is a built-in logs and factor number. If you are testing the factor number 3, you can do this to check all the Docker compose output. And one important thing is that you need to do the exercises in order, because there are one factors that are understood better when previous ones has been completed. So you have to do this in order. Once you complete, these are the commands that you have to execute. Okay, so once you complete one, there are some patches in Git for adding functionality to the application and continue the test. So yeah, some restrictions. You can cheat. It's possible to cheat, but the only code that you can and you should modify are the files that are in the ADP folder. You can cheat and pass the test doing a lot of things, but it's not the point of the exercise. So I'm going to break out rooms randomly. I don't know if we are. I'm going to stop sharing. If we are 13,
12, because
12,
I can do the kata.
Okay, so we are 9.
And yeah, I will be just helping you. So
one question I have for you, David.
Sure. Yeah.
If we do it like in Teams, what would be the best way to to share the exercise as a team? Should someone like share the screen, or should we kind of push on one GitHub repository to
I think sharing will be enough. One coding and one sharing the screen, I think that will be fine.
So one could be the driver and the others are just
sure.
helping.
All right. We don't know if everyone has Docker ready and installed. I don't know if someone has.
Yeah, if someone has some problems. Yeah.
One question also, David, are you going to jump into different rooms to help us?
Yeah, anyone that has questions, problems, anything, I will be around for anything you need. Okay, so I'm going to start the breakout room. So let me know in the chat if I think I did not put any group
before making the breakout rooms, just 2 things. If you want to call for David helps, you will have in the participants list. If you open it by clicking in the bottom of your screen, you have a participants icon. So if you click there, you will see a list in your right panel, and then you will have a raise hand. And also when you will be inside the room, you will have a call for host or something like this. So he will receive a message that someone needs help. So that will be for David, and we will coordinate to move around. So that will be the flow for today. Let's see how it goes. Good luck all.
Okay.
Vamos a ver.
Buenas.
Hola.
Hola.
Nada, bueno, a mí me movieron aquí porque no teníamos Docker ninguno de los dos que estábamos en la sala. Así que...
Ok.
¿Es castellano, inglés? ¿Cómo preferís?
En español, ¿no? En castellano.
Empezamos hablando castellano, pero como quieran.
Vale, no, sí, a mí me da igual.
Sí.
Bueno, ¿quién se anima a compartir un poco el
Bueno,
driver?
acá
Acabo de
puede contar
clonar esto.
¿Quieren que compartan?
Dale.
Estupendo, nada, si tenéis dudas o alguna cosa, en la lista de participantes ahí se puede levantar la mano, por así
¿Te
decirlo.
falta algún lenguaje en concreto o algo para esto? O sea, ¿en qué?
No, está todo, en principio los ejercicios son en Node.js, pero no te hace falta tener una instalada porque el propio Docker lo lleva todo interno.
Vale, ok. Pero el make, por ejemplo,
Sí, no, si te fijas, lo que estás es... a ver...
o sea, yo, por ejemplo, no puedo hacer el make porque es que estoy en este ordenador que...
El make me lo instalé antes con una apt-get del make porque yo tampoco lo tenía. Pero claro, cuando lo ejecuté ya me vinieron todos los problemas del Docker. Así que...
Vale, lo que pasa es que aquí lo estás ejecutando desde fuera o...
Estamos desde fuera de momento, ¿no? O sea, estamos dentro de la carpeta del repositorio.
Sí, no, pero tienes que hacer make setup primero. Siguiendo la guía del...
Sí, pero eso es por eso mismo que el comando el comando make no lo encuentra simplemente.
Ah, claro, a mí tampoco.
Vale.
¿Será que no está instalado, no?
Pero entiendo que eso es Mac, ¿no?
Ah, ahí ya no me meto.
Sí, pero... MacBook Pro, sí, deberías... A ver, déjame que eche un vistazo.
Estoy en Windows.
Aquí,
Claro, la que estamos compartiendo es la pantalla de Ignacio.
Ah, vale.
Que él sí lo pudo
Sí,
hacer.
esa es otra.
Vale. Yo estaba y digo, Windows,
Claro,
¿no?
yo con Windows no lo pude hacer.
La palabra reservada
Yo
make,
tampoco.
¿de dónde viene? ¿De qué framework?
Make es un software de build, básicamente.
Sí, pues pero entonces eso, o sea, tenemos que instalarlo, no viene por defecto en nuestras máquinas.
Las últimas sí, pero es lo que decía, que con Windows mejor si tenéis una virtual estaría...
Pero en Windows creo que... Bueno, no estoy seguro si está o no.
Dime. Ignacio, ¿sí?
Que no estoy seguro si está en Windows Make. Puede ser, ¿no? Puede que no. Bueno.
No tengo ni idea. Yo intenté hacer el comando y no funciona, pero... Bueno, igual
Ya.
podemos arrancar ya con
Sí.
esto, con la tuya que va bien.
Sí, vale. No, yo estaba en un Git bash, pero...
Lo que pasa, Ignacio, que tienes que hacer... Ahora estás tirándolos directamente desde el Mac. Tendrías que hacer primero el make setup, ¿vale?
Sí, eso lo ejecuté antes.
Vale, entonces ahora te falta, o sea, los tests se ejecutan desde dentro de un entorno de Docker, ¿vale? Entonces sería, si abres la guía,
Sí.
la guía del repo, te has ido directo a los tests, tira un poquito más para arriba. Un poquito más. Vale, tenemos el make setup y el make HIB, ¿vale? Un poquito más abajo.
Sí. Ah, este no lo hice.
Eso es. Vale, esto lo que va a hacer es... Vale, ahora si te fijas en el prompt de la consola, ahora mismo estás dentro de un entorno, estás dentro de Docker, de una máquina Docker que ya tiene todo lo necesario. Entonces, si ahora sí haces el make test 3, va a salir exactamente lo mismo de arriba. Esto puede que tarde un pelín. Y si quieres puedes ir abriendo un editor de la carpeta app, que es la que vais a tener que modificar.
Sí.
Y vale, os recomiendo también un poco, antes, si estamos haciendo el factor número 3, leerlo entre todos un poquito para ver realmente qué nos está pidiendo. Este es sencillo, es básicamente leer la configuración del entorno. Y si miras ahí tienes el enlace, bueno, es todo el factor.net y lo tienes en varios idiomas.
Más arriba.
No, abre una ventana nueva y es todo el factor.s, ahí, por ejemplo.
Sí.
Vale, si te vas, estamos en el 3.
Sí, configuraciones.
Exacto. Si pinchas, tienes un poco una descripción un poquito más amplia.
Ok.
¿Vale? Nada, básicamente es lo que hacemos es pasamos de archivos de configuración y la configuración tiene que estar en el entorno. Entonces, el ejercicio consiste en ver el código y un poco ver todos los códigos tienen una forma de leer del entorno, de todos los lenguajes de programación, ver cuál es y modificarlo de manera que el test pase.
Ok.
¿Vale?
O sea que acá ejecutó lo mismo, ¿no? El test. Y falló.
Tendríamos que ir a ver el test en el código, a ver qué hay.
Vale, os recomiendo eso, mirar el test, que es lo que tenéis ya en pantalla. También podéis ver lo que sería la carpeta escenarios. También ahí está dividido por factores. Y aquí podéis ver que estamos levantando dos imágenes de Docker diferentes, en las cuales tiene dos variables de entorno diferentes, ¿vale?
Okay.
Entonces el test está haciendo una llamada al sub A y al sub B y está esperando con el mismo build. Tenemos que conseguir que, sin modificar el código internamente, nos dé el mismo resultado. ¿Vale? Esto es un poco, habla un poco de la inmutabilidad de los artefactos.
Claro.
El archivo para modificar sería el server.js que tenéis ahí. Y si os fijáis es bastante la línea... espérate, te he ido un poco lejos. La línea 48. Eso sería la ruta que está pidiendo el test. Y ahora mismo está haciendo una app-get MOT. Pero
La
está
40.
hardcore. Sí, 40-41, sí.
Claro. Ok.
Vale.
Se vuelve un hardcode de mod y
El mod está definido un poquito más arriba. Esto es un framework de Node para hacer API REST y aplicaciones. Bastante sencillito. Entonces, pues primer trabajo es pues cómo conseguimos con Node leer la configuración desde el entorno. ¿Vale? En principio los tres primeros factores son cambios de una línea, no tiene mucho más.
claro, ok.
¿Vale?
Okay. O sea que esto lo estamos levantando con esta variable de entorno, pero no la estamos usando, ¿no?
Oh, correcto.
Entonces podríamos levantarlo acá.
Bueno, aquí ya no os digo nada más. Ahora me voy a dar una vueltecita por ahí.
The teacher is here, we can ask him. Hey, David. So we changed, for the first exercise, we changed in the server.js at the line 26. We use the environment variable now instead of hard-coded. But then we don't know if we have to rebuild the Docker image to make the test pass or not, because it seems like now it's passing. So
yes. Yes,
you are muted, David. I don't know if you were speaking.
every time you do the make test is rebuilding the image. You don't need to do anything.
Okay.
So for if you already have the testing green, you should go to the next one. And if you go to the guide, you have to apply a patch first. If there is a command in the guide, so it's going to add some functionality to the server JS code. So go to the guide, or I can tell you also. If you go down, scroll down, you have to do make patch 4.
Make patch 4.
So it will add some functionality to the server JS file. Okay, if you do you do not make test 4, also you will see.
So David, I have some question because I'm really, really beginner with like DevOps stuff and Docker. Okay. So how do you build like those, this application? You have Docker to build the images, but then what are those other command lines like make and there is also like a Gmail, no? No, sorry.
Yeah, in fact, it's quite straightforward when you type the command, but under the hood there is a lot of things going on because we are using a thing called Docker in Docker for having a clean image each time. So it's using Docker Compose. For example, in this test, the Docker Compose is spinning up 2 images of your subject under test and 2 images of MySQL. So, and then the harness is doing the test based on that. So it's like a black box. We are considering the Docker artifact as a black box and throwing in some tests to the. So in the Docker Compose, you can see that there is suit A and suit B. Those are images from the application you are running, and you can see also that it's spinning up, sorry, not MySQL, it's spinning up 2 Redis servers also. Okay. So the test is checking that the test is checking the factor 4 that says that you should put the backend services should follow the 3rd principle, and then also it can be replaceable. So for changing between Redis 5 and Redis 4, I only change the configuration.
Okay. And if I want to see the test, the source code of the test that we
you have to go to the spec folder.
Okay. And it's in factor 4. Right?
Yeah, it's divided by factor. So you can check. It's simply a call to an HTTP call.
Okay, I see.
So if you go to the server.js, you are going to see new code, a new endpoint for handling this call. So if you go back up a little bit.
For factor 4.
Okay, you have a new entry point for this code. So now you are depending on Redis, and it's going to connect to the key value, and it's going to add and then check that the counter is okay. So
I think I need to have a look to the code before thinking.
Okay, the easiest thing is first to read the factor to check more or less what we are trying to learn here, and then try to understand the error.
Okay. All right.
Okay, I was saying that we will stop at 10 minutes past 7, and also these exercises are all the people that has been in the face-to-face sessions. Then we open a Slack channel and we continue and share doubts and everything. So you can do it by yourself and keep doing the exercises, because in the last ones are are quite funny and interesting to solve.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going back to another room.
Ah, tenés que abrir el test del 5 está abierto, ¿no? El spec, ahí.
Sí. Claro, le pega a un index ahí.
Siempre que entro me pongo a hablar y estoy mutado.
Buenas.
Bueno,
Ya habéis hecho el 4 y todo, estupendo.
Sí.
sí, estábamos con el factor 5 que no encontrábamos, digamos, las rutas, los endpoints definidos acá, pero...
Vale,
nada.
este es un poquito tricky, ¿vale? Lo que está haciendo es aquí no hay realmente no hay un endpoint porque lo que está sirviendo es un archivo estático. ¿Vale? Entonces, aquí sí que hace falta un poquito de experiencia o saber un poquito cómo va Docker y si queréis os echo aquí una mano. Si vamos al Dockerfile, vale, no el Dockerfile, perdona. Package.json, ¿vale? Veréis que aquí tenemos en la línea 8 el build lo que está haciendo es está generando un archivo estático dentro de Docker, ¿vale? De lo que sería el artefacto o lo que va a servir los archivos. Entonces, un poco el ejercicio lo que plantea es de qué forma podemos hacer que el artefacto sea inmutable. Es decir, que me da igual en qué entorno lo voy a ejecutar, porque si lo hiciéramos así, si estuviéramos en QA o en staging y hiciéramos de esta manera que está aquí, tendríamos dos artefactos de Docker diferentes. No sé si me explico.
Sí.
Porque el código internamente sería que tendríamos que tener un código para QA y otro para staging.
Ok.
¿Vale? Lo que está intentando explicarnos esto es que la imagen, o sea, lo que hacemos es, tenemos por un lado el artefacto o el ejecutable, como por así decirlo, y por el otro lado la configuración, ¿vale? Cuando hacemos un despliegue, el que va a staging y producción nos tiene que servir el mismo. Tal y como está hecho aquí, no se puede. Entonces, si no tenéis mucha experiencia en Docker, os va a costar bastante. Vale.
Claro, es como si, o sea, estábamos viendo que le está pasando las variables del entorno de qué entorno está mirando, ¿no? Pero...
Claro, lo que tenéis que hacer, a ver, igual podéis solucionarlo de otra manera. Lo que tenéis que hacer es que el Docker, cuando se levante, ¿vale? Lea esa variable de entorno de alguna forma y genere ese archivo con lo que está esperando el test. Que para cada entorno es diferente.
O sea que en el build habría que pasarle la variable donde está el development.
Si lo haces en el build, a ver, es una opción, vas a pasar solo uno de los dos tests. O sea, podéis probarlo, es un camino. Para entenderlo bien, es un camino. Podéis hacer eso. Y si aquí cambias, que aquí pones QA, por ejemplo, pon QA y veréis que vais a pasar uno, pero no vais a pasar el otro.
Pero de alguna manera no se puede acceder como con un punto o algo al environment de la propiedad esa.
Claro, sería bueno parametrizar ahí con la variable.
Claro, que sea como un parámetro, que sea environment o whatever.
Sí y no.
Sí, acá nos va a pasar uno solo.
Solo está pasando el de QA, ¿vale?
Claro, sí.
Vale, si queréis vamos a os explico un poco cómo sería esto. En Docker tenemos lo que sería el tiempo, como en muchas otras situaciones, tenemos un tiempo de build y un tiempo de ejecución, ¿vale? El tiempo de build, que sería lo que hacemos si abres el Dockerfile. Ese, ¿vale? Esto sería lo que hace el Docker para buildear la imagen. aquí tenemos en la línea 5 un copy, ¿vale? Que lo que va a hacer es copiar todo lo que hay en el directorio adentro de la imagen del contenedor.
Sí.
A esta imagen de build se le pueden pasar variables dentro también, pero no conseguiríamos solucionar el problema del test. Entonces, lo que he hecho, aquí puedo chatear con vosotros solo.
Sí.
Sí.
¿O no?
Pero, ¿cuál fue la-
No, creo que no. Bueno, da igual.
Mandalo si querés por privado a alguno de nosotros, porque
Vale,
nosotros
perfecto.
en el chat sí que solo vemos a los participantes de esta sala.
Ah, vale, igual es porque soy host.
Claro.
Vale. Vale, os voy a pasar... Vale, lo que vamos a usar es un concepto de Docker que se llama entry point, ¿vale? Que es... lo que vamos a hacer es en tiempo de ejecución, es decir, cuando el container se levanta, vamos a leer esa variable de entorno y vamos a generar el archivo, ¿vale? De esa manera conseguimos el resultado. ¿Qué ha pasado?
Hola.
Ah, ¿qué has hecho?
Es que le he dado a claim host en vez de a...
Estaba ahí, me has cortado el rollo a tope.
Perdón.
Espera, me voy.
De nuevo, ¿en cuál estabas? ¿En la 4?
Con la que hay, está Sofía y...
Vale. Espera. Bueno, un segundo.
Mándame tú allí.
Sí.
Oye, os he abandonado, pero vamos.
Sí, sí.
Ha sido Cristian que me ha echado, me ha quitado el mojo. Vale, os comento. Crea un archivo que se llame docker-entrypoint.sh ahí dentro de esa carpeta. Vale, y por ejemplo, ¿estáis en castellano o en inglés? Ya lo he visto. Lo paso. Entonces ahora si hablo, te lo paso a ti, Ignacio.
Ok.
Pega eso ahí, en el... Ups.
Ok. Puedo reemplazar esto.
Vale.
Entonces,
vale, aquí lo que estamos haciendo es, esto es lo que va a pasar cuando el Docker se levante. Lo que estamos haciendo primero es generamos el archivo este que tiene que depender del entorno y después este exec lo que va a hacer es ejecutar lo que sea. O sea, lo que hacemos es ponernos un poco en el medio antes de la ejecución del servidor de Node, ¿vale? Nos ponemos en el medio, hacemos lo que tenemos que hacer y ejecutamos. Si te vas a también tienes que hacer un pequeño cambio en el Dockerfile para añadir tienes que añadir entry point y la ruta en la que esté el docker entrypoint.sh. No, esto es un poquito especial, es con corchetes, comillas. No, esas no, las dobles.
Como sería el CMD que está abajo, más o menos, corchetes, comillas y el nombre del file.
Exactamente.
Con los corchetes, ¿no?
Sí. Comillas dobles y la ruta que tienes arriba, usr src/app, ¿vale? Esa misma. Y al final barra y el docker entrypoint.sh. Vale, está mal, ¿vale? Pero voy a dejar que falle para que veamos un poquito de troubleshooting. Ahora lo guardas y hacemos el test. Vale. Tienes que darle un más X al archivo, ¿vale?
Haré que sea lo mismo entonces, ¿no? Pero
No, eso, a ver, lo puedes hacer, bueno, también lo puedes hacer aquí si quieres,
El SH.
como
vale.
quieras. Lo puedes hacer. No, me refiero, puedes hacerlo desde la consola, chmod más x del archivo, o dentro del Dockerfile también podrías hacerlo. Aquí no. Lo que te está diciendo es que este archivo no tiene permiso de ejecución.
Mm.
¿Vale?
Entonces,
Desde la consola es lo más rápido. Vamos a ponerlo. O sea,
Desde terminal.
¿no?
Sí, exacto. Haces ahí un chmod más x punto barra app Docker entry point.
Ahí.
¿Vale? Y entonces aquí ya, exacto.
Ok.
¿Vale? Lo que hemos conseguido es tenemos un artefacto, una imagen de Docker que es la misma para todos los entornos y podemos cambiar. Hay muchas formas de hacer esto, ¿vale? Esto es una de las soluciones, la más rápida, pero hay otras formas. En otros lenguajes también. Aquí estamos usando NPM de Node, pero hay otros lenguajes que permiten también hacerlo de otra manera.
Y al final, digamos, la parte de este build, ¿no? Esto en algún momento no, o sea, no lo
No,
dejamos.
ese ya no lo ese en este caso no se gasta.
Pero
Lo podríamos quitar, ponerlo de otra manera, pero en principio es simplemente para entender o sea, no, un momento. Es para entender el problema, tampoco es, no es la solución más bonita, pero la más rápida.
claro. Ok.
Vale, pues nada, nos queda nada. Creo que en unos minutitos saldremos.
Bueno,
Si
vemos
queréis
si
echarle,
podemos hacer el próximo y...
exacto, si queréis echarle un ojo al 6, pues
Dale.
Perfecto. Volver, digamos.
dime.
¿A qué hora deberíamos volver al
Nos llevarán a todos, no podemos elegir, nos lo hacen ellos.
Ajá, abducen.
Ya nos enteraremos entonces. Gracias.
I must say that we didn't really go really far in the exercise. But we don't have any knowledge on this. So I guess maybe with a little bit of time would be better. I don't know for the room. How was it?
Well, in our room, at the beginning we went fast, then we got stuck in the 5 factor.
Yeah, the 5 is quite tricky.
Yeah, we wanted to call you, David, to know, to have more context, and what I made is just to remove you from the room you were. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry for that. So, well, maybe I don't know if someone wants to share the solutions, or we want to just to comment maybe where we get and how.
How many
In our room, we make until number 5, which is, yeah, we have just started with number 6
Yeah.
before we came here.
Cool. We didn't finish number 5, so maybe you can share your screen and
Yep.
show.
Ignacio, you want to share it,
Sure.
please?
So we made until factor number 5, and we have started with number 6 as well. I don't know, I can show what the changes we made, right? Like here, for example, we have changed for factor number 3, the environment variable. So whenever we are using the mods variable here, we do the get here, and we are returning the expected value here. Like then in factor 4, we had some timeout error. So we knew that we saw that the Redis client wasn't connecting as expected to the Redis instance. So we copied we saw that to connect to the Redis instance, the Docker file was passing this URL, so we changed that in the connection because it was passing something else. We're passing here the Redis URL, but it had something else before some.
It was passing like a password.
Yeah, that's it. For number 5, that was tricky, and thanks, David, for helping us because.
Yeah, I want to know that one.
Yeah, that one. Well, number 5 was.
It was the one complaining about the message in the build, the build message that was setting an output to an index file.
Yeah, it was doing this get to the index and was getting well, saludos desde el entorno. It said development. So
Yeah.
that didn't change. And we saw that the package JSON was creating that like in a build stage some time in the build, and it was hard coding that. So one of the solutions was adding this running this script that runs. I believe it runs on the build time of the container. And what we are doing in that script is building the index HTML with the environment variable, which we get from here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's all because yeah, we were checking number 6 and we ran out of time.
So and there is any other solution for number 5 more than adding?
Yes, it depends on the build system you are using. There are a couple of things you can do, but the exercise is for knowing the difference between build time and runtime, and to the need to have the same artifact for all the environments. So you cannot have, if you are going to serve static files, for example, and there is the different content for staging and environment and development. You cannot have that inside the. You can't have that inside the environment. You can, for example, mount volumes in Docker, for example. Depending on the package, you can also do that in the Express framework. Instead of being a static file in the file system, you can use you can generate it. There are a lot of things you can do here.
Okay, thank you.
So in the 6, you can open the Docker Compose. The 6 it starts to get interesting because we have two different two images behind a load balancer, and it starts to the test starts to get interesting with cookies and a lot of things. And then the 9 and 11 are quite interesting too, because you have to work with signals, etc.
Oh, nice.
So what I was telling in the rooms is that when we did this in person, then we the people continued doing all the factors and asking doubts and everything in a Slack channel. So I can be there if you want. We can create someone or be in one that you use, and I can be around because we are already doing it. So
okay, cool.
Okay, thank you. Maybe we can talk later and see what's the best solution for all of us. Well, if anyone has any suggestion for that, please let us know. Anyone has any question? Maybe you can write them in the chat if you don't want to speak. So I will read them.
Actually, I don't have a question. I just wanted to say that I'm really excited about this. I thought that I was a little bit scary at the beginning because I don't have any idea of Docker, but just seeing that we could solve the stuff is like, yeah.
Yeah.
Esa es la idea, ese es el objetivo.
I have one question for you, David, like
Yeah.
technical. Those kind of tests that you were writing in the test in the spec, like what kind of tests you would be, what kind of category of tests you would be putting them in? It's like purely integration test or some kind of.
I think it's not. Maybe it's black box testing because the harness doesn't know anything about the. For putting it in another way, we are working on having the application in Golang and .NET, so the test harness is not going to change. So we are going to do the same testing for the black box that is the Docker artifact without changing any code. So it's maybe end to end, but not integration. I think it's more like integration testing.
Yeah, because you are kind of mocking the dependencies of the application, no?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So maybe.
Yeah,
like
they are not really mocks because they are real software running. It's a real ready, so it's an integration environment in Docker, but it's only for it's not a production practice. It's only for the sake of learning the concepts.
For training.
It's like, I don't know if you have done the commands of Ruby, for example. It's using BDD for learning the basics of the language, and you are modifying the test for them to pass. And it's using testing for learning, but it's not.
Okay. In Kotlin, they have something similar also.
Yeah, there are the Ruby ones were the first ones, and there has been a lot of ports, JavaScript and other languages. It's a very, very good exercise. I recommend it a lot.
Okay.
I have a question for you, if you don't have more. What do you think it's more, because we are preparing more languages, but do you think it's interesting to face, to try to do these exercises with out of your comfort zone in using another language that is not your main one?
Yeah, it will be really fun if you manage to do it using lambdas, maybe serverless framework or something like this. Could be really fun also, because then you jump into something really different from what you are used to.
Yeah, what I try with this is to teach about the fundamentals, right? I'm trying to do that.
Yeah, I see.
So that is because it's normally in DevOps roles, you face this kind of situation, or you have been hired for improving the CI, and maybe the language that your team is using is out of your experience. So, but if you know the fundamentals, any challenge it can be Buah, se me ha oxidado el inglés de repente.
Yeah, you can face, you have the fundamentals, you can face any issue you can find there, right?
So if you have any suggestion, so it's also open source, or if you want to do a PR with you are going to learn the same or more preparing the test in other language than as the same or more as doing the exercises.
I have one question, maybe more basic one is, what will be the best thing to, what will be the best thing to start learning how to use or how to compose Docker? I mean, there is any kind of kata that maybe you can follow if you know some of them? Because for me, for example, I know the really basic things from Docker, and it was a bit difficult at the beginning to put my mindset into that. So I don't know if you have.
Okay, there are a lot of good tutorials in Kata. I don't know if you know that platform, and it's a interactive platform for learning all kind of technology, and it's based on Docker, and there are tutorials from basic to hero for Docker, and they are quite good for starting because you don't need to download anything, and it's all set up for you. So
just thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for this kata. It was really fun for me. So thank you, David.
Thank you.
Thank you.
have a good day.
Bye bye.